So, good morning. Today we have a slightly different video, and I will explain this of what we have to do or what we did here already. Now, this here is the EGR valve I put in 3 years ago. Let me see where I can get a good light on it. Yeah. And the problem I had is that this came out of another model. This is not the exact EGR valve you need or should be in here. And with this side here, the left side of the valve, looking at it from this side here, was a little bit further out than what it normally is, and it became very difficult to seat this into the exhaust manifold, that little L tube. And then last year I had that worked in, and it lasted until last year, until Clay and we got to work on my engine, and I made all these videos about the valve stem seals and all of this stuff, and we winded up running a thread chaser through all my spark plugs, to get them nice and fit for everything, put anti-seize on the plugs and all of this stuff to make it nice. And then what we did in the very end is we couldn't get the bottom screw, which is underneath here, this one here, which holds the EGR to this bracket in. And I said to Clay, okay, I'm going to do this when I get home. And I didn't have my 24 millimeter Crawford with me, which you need for that overthrow nut to hold this in place. So for the last 3,300 miles I drove. And then Thursday afternoon, I came back from the dollar store, and my car suddenly sounded like a tank because the pipe had popped out of the manifold right here. So I got this now shortened. I shortened the pipe by like 1/8 of an inch at 3/16, something like this. And now the pipe actually fits, and I secured the EGR valve with the screw, which was in my blue toolbox on the top where I put it last year when we worked on it in August, and I put this all back together. Now, the next thing is what I realized is that this side, because this was now loose, had developed a vacuum leak. This pipe you're seeing here goes around the back end of the thing and goes into the intake manifold at about right here, all the way down on the bottom. This is the California edition of this vehicle, and the California unit has a other kind of oxygen sensor or temperature sensor mounted onto that pipe you can see here, right here, and that sensor is no longer available and it is defective. When this thing is defective, after driving for 10 or 15 minutes over 1500 RPM, the engine check light comes on, because the sensed temperature, because that valve should be open and it should have a certain temperature, I think 100 degrees Celsius or something like this, is not sensed. It throws you off and it gives you an error code 12. And what I did is I put a 11 kilo ohm resistor into the plug where these two wires normally go in. And that basically mimics the temperature at 100 or 120 degrees. Not an ideal situation, but on Thursday when I fixed this here, I also did a smoke test. And I realized this, that I had a vacuum leak down here because this pipe goes straight to the lower part of the intake system, of the lower thing there. And so I tightened this up now as much as we can, and now we're going to verify this. A very nice viewer last year had recommended to me to get one of these 5-inch rubber type caps we usually put on plumbing that comes with that ring, and it goes right on here. And you can see this. I opened this up this way the smoke will not get as much resistance when it goes in there. From the closed plate, it will move easier over the plate. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to set this on here, and I'm going to tighten this up, and then we're going to turn this on. I got now the better hose on it, And then we will see if we still have any smoke coming out of it. That will be probably 5 minutes from now. Okay, so here we can see this now. There's a minute leak in there. And that is right at this connection. So I have to open this side up again and see that I can get that better seated in there. The valve itself is okay. It is just coming out there on the bottom. This is one problem with these EGR valves. So here you can develop a problem too, and this is kind of how that comes out of my hose thing, because I cannot fully close this off, but this is better than what it was. It sure stinks up the whole shop. This is the only vacuum leak I got now, so I will be fixing this. Okay, so now I got this thing here where the leak is minimized to the bare minimum. I basically have to find the correct EGR valve for my car, which is no longer manufactured, and you probably can't get it, which means I will have to close off the pipe here. And we will see and if I'm going to do this or not. But this will be a source of minor contention in this, because it just affects the whole idle thing a little bit, just a little tiny bit, not very much. So for the moment, I'm going to leave this, and then I'm going to make a decision of what I'm going to do. Alrighty, so this is it for today. I got this back together. We leave it the way it is at the moment. And if you're wondering where Clay is, he is at home because his father-in-law had passed away, I think, a few weeks ago, and they're having a funeral. So that's why I did this here without him. And he's working, and they're doing their basketball thing on the weekends. So this is kind of why we're not doing anything together, but we will when time permits. And let's see how the thing starts here. She came right up. You can see this here. We have no indication of vacuum leaks in here. Wait until the RPM drops down a little bit. Let me see. See, there's just a little tiny bit there. But this is okay. And that is the enrichment when it is cold, when it comes out. It takes up to 90 seconds when you start the cold car before it fully drips down with this particular idle speed control unit I have in here. You can see it, she runs pretty smooth for the mileage I got on there. Well, anyway, this is it for the moment. You have a great day.